Good morning, everybody. Welcome back to Tech Check. We're on for episode 11 today. And in the spirit of continuing on, following on with our friends in Pakistan, our hearts are with you. We know you're facing a very difficult time with the COVID situation. May Allah bless you and your families. Please stay safe and well. So for today, we wanted to change it up a little and head a little, as they say, to the West, and wanted to introduce a friend, a dear colleague, and someone who's done some great work in the digital media space in the Middle East. I have with us today Maaz Sheikh, the CEO of STARZPLAY. Welcome, Maaz. How are you today?
Hi, Faruk. Thank you. Assalamu alaikum to everyone. Thank you, Faruk. Thank you for having me. It's a pleasure to join you for this talk. Great to see you.
Likewise. So, Maaz, let's not waste too much of a busy exec's time and just dive right into it. So, first question, STARZPLAY, what was the idea behind this? You know, I mean, this was a fairly new concept less than 5 years ago in the Middle East, and it's now reached across the Middle East into South Asia. Give us the impetus. How did that all come about?
Sure. Look, it wasn't, even 5 years ago, it wasn't the most original idea, to be fair. You know, we like lots of other startups and entrepreneurs that are listening, you know, we looked at a formula that was working in US, was very successful in North America, hadn't quite migrated to Europe, perhaps with the same scale as in US, but we saw it being very successful in US, looked at the model and then figured out how it can be localized and adapted for our region in the Middle East and the Pakistan market. So yeah, it wasn't, I wouldn't say it's the world's most original idea back then, but we just looked at a model that was working in US and essentially adapted it to MENA region.
Awesome. Well, kudos to one thing, Maaz. Remember, it's not always reinventing the wheel, but making the wheel work in the place you need it to work. So you guys have done a great job of really scaling this up. And I even remember some of our earlier on conversations when you were kind of diving into this. But with that said, Maaz, so, you know what, I think the point today is you're a Pakistani guy, you know, well-heeled, educated in the US, professional, came out to the Middle East. So why Middle East over Pakistan? And that's just a question I think a lot of our audience will ask.
Sure. You know, I think lots of our friends, our mutual friends, will question the well-educated and well-heeled part as well. But we can leave that to the side. Look, I think for lots of these things, you know, sometimes there is no grand plan, and sometimes, you know, life, right? There's not for everything you have a grand plan, and for me it was a bit similar. I was you know, born in Islamabad, spent part of my childhood in Pakistan. My father got a job in Dubai in the 70s, moved here, and then I moved to US. So I had certainly roots in Pakistan, but I had also spent some childhood in the Middle East. But most of my college and work had been in US. And I'd done a couple of startups in US with two with good successful exits. And when it came time to, you know, coming back to the region as in Pakistan and Middle East, looking at it as one broad market, I had a job opportunity here in Middle East that brought me back because I wanted to be closer to Pakistan. So the job opportunity was in Dubai. So that's how I came back, and I started working here about you know, back in 2005, 2006, and the job I was doing was in the media and entertainment sector. So I did that for 8 years, and then this startup. So there was no grand plan of Dubai versus Middle East. It's just how life unfolded, if you will.
Great. Well, good to know. So, Maaz, you know, what we've been watching and seeing very closely is and particularly with COVID, the explosion of digital online media and the streaming capability. So what's the go forward? What's next for STARZPLAY? I know you guys must have been growing like leaps and bounds over the last few months. So What's next?
Sure. So, you know, just a little bit about about our company and how we stack up against competition in the region. So, like you said, Farooq, we got started just over 5 years ago, and especially in last 2 or 3 years, we've sort of found our rhythm, and the business has been growing and scaling. And based on various estimates, third-party estimates, we are, most analysts will rank us as the #1 streaming service in the region. There's an IHS report that I think you're familiar with, that you even have access to, that ranks us as #1 ahead of Netflix in the MENA region. We have about 1.8 million paying subscribers in the Middle East region. And so far, our growth had been primarily, organic and driven through digital marketing. What we experienced during COVID-19 lockdown is just almost logarithmic growth in both in consumption. Our existing customers consuming a lot more, but also a tremendous demand on organic app downloads and organic and direct traffic coming to our websites. So, in most cases, let's say, to give you an example, a typical day for us in January 2020 would see us maybe 6,000-7,000 app downloads, just organic app downloads without our marketing.
Right.
That number grew to 25,000-30,000 a day during COVID. So the big learning, the big aha for us was that, yes, you can spend marketing money, and yes, you can spend money on acquiring customers and scaling the business, but there's really no substitute for organic demand and that inherent demand for a product or service. So we did more in last 12 weeks than we did in last 5 years in terms of content consumption growth and subscribers. It's just very, very impressive what happens when there's a true organic inherent demand for your product.
Understand. Oh, that's great. So the last question I have for you, Maaz, and again, the soul of this show is to highlight Pakistanis in tech in Pakistan. You're a proud Pakistani, I know that, like us. What's your thought for Pakistan? I mean, how does this work? What can STARZPLAY do? How can people engage? What are thoughts for that?
Sure. So a few things, Farooq, right? So first of all, we now have a Lahore development office. Awesome. It's on MM Alam Road. We have our office now is almost about 50 employees. And we're doing our core product development there. So it's not just QA, it's not just design. We're doing the full product lifecycle. And we're also doing what we call our network operations center, where we monitor the service for the entire region.
Got it.
So that's one aspect of our business in Pakistan, which is it's a development hub for us. The second is we've also, as a direct-to-consumer service, also launched the service recently. We've done so in partnership with Jazz, with PTCL on their IPTV network, and also with Telenor. So those are our key partners in Pakistan. So when even as an entrepreneur, as someone who's in the tech industry, I look at Pakistan even from outside in Dubai. I think the nation has some of the best tech talent we've seen. We also have a development hub in Madrid and a development hub in Dubai. So I have the luxury benefit of seeing talent in different parts of the world.
Sure.
So the talent, access to talent in Pakistan has been great for us, and it's not without its challenges, because I think there is the ecosystem of the startups is evolving. So you do have a lot of confusion on the ground. Some candidates have a lot of opportunities. So when they're deciding, they bounce around from one offer to another, which is fine. It's part of the process. But I think in last 5 or 6 years, I've seen it come of age extensively. and the environment and the infrastructure is getting better as well. So, you know, connectivity, office environments, so everything is headed in the right direction. And inshallah, I'm very optimistic about the future of tech in general in Pakistan, and especially in Lahore.
That's great to hear, Maaz, and glad to see that your heart is still beats green. And for those of us, for those of the out here in North America and around the world, look, here's a story of a gentleman who's serving a very wealthy and developed marketplace, but still keeps Pakistan first and foremost in his mind from a development perspective. So the appeal to the audience out here is, and the reason for this episode was to show you there are ways to engage and connect into Pakistan. It's a challenging environment with a challenging situation going on. But we, as outside Pakistanis, have to do what we can do to help where we can. And again, Maaz, thank you very much for joining us today. Always great to hear your story. Always great to talk to you. For our audience out there, keep coming, please. We're at episode 11. We're growing. Love your likes and shares and following. Keep doing it. It helps me promote and build on this great platform that we're trying to create. We have a new website, www.techcheck.net, and we're on all the social medias, as you know from last time. And thank you very much to my sponsors, Celeritas Solutions and Open Silicon Valley. With that, thank you, everybody. Stay safe and well. Thank you, Maaz. Allah
Thank you, Faruk. Allah Hafiz. Thank you.